Good morning, Anita Dawn here from Anita Dawn Wellbeing. How is everybody today? I hope you had a beautiful day yesterday. Weather was good today, not looking so good. Why am I talking about the weather? Let's get on. February, health tips about diet. It's amazing how little my clients, some of my clients know about what they should be eating and the components of food. So I'm just going to give a very brief overview, nothing in great detail, nothing too complicated, pretty basic. Okay, so why do we eat? Generally, it's to nourish the body so that we can make new cells, repair older cells, and lots of functions, make hormones, repair, as I say, recover when we're sick, and to be active during the day and to exercise as well. So we need the energy. But so the amount, how much are we going to have? First of all, we want to have a rough idea of what our calorie requirement is. That's how many calories we are burning on a daily basis, just a rough idea. So we have what we call BMR, that's our basal metabolic rate. And that depends on many things. It can depend on your body composition, how much muscle you've got in relation to fat, and then how large you are, what age you are. Our metabolism tends to slow down as we age. That could be debatable. There's lots of different reasons. One of them is that we are less active and we lose muscle mass. But does it have to be that way? Okay, so total calorie requirement is our basic metabolic rate, which is just the basic functions of the body, the heart beating, the body digesting food, those basic functions that go on that we don't really have to worry about too much. And then the activity on top of that. Yeah, so it tends to be somewhere around 2000, maybe 1800, depending, not very active person, 2000. And if you're really training, 3000. And for guys, it's a lot more, isn't it? Because they do have a lot more muscle, generally speaking. Okay, so what we're looking at with food is we're looking at macronutrients and micronutrients. So I don't want to get too complicated here, but I think we do need to have some idea of how we put a plate of food together. How do we make food choices? Yeah, and a lot depends, as I say, on our age and our lifestyle, particularly our lifestyle. So the macronutrients, there's three of them. Okay, there's carbohydrates, there's protein, and there's fats. So we need a proportion of all of those three things. We can't do without fats, we can't do without carbohydrates, all right, otherwise we'll get sick, and protein. Okay, so let's have a look first of all at carbohydrates. We have what we call simple carbohydrates, which are mostly processed, refined carbohydrates, and they turn very, very quickly to glucose, sugars in the body, which can give you a blood sugar spike and then a release of insulin. And that is not a very healthy thing if your blood sugar is spiking up and down throughout the day. Okay, then you have complex carbohydrates, which is what we really want to eat mostly, and that is your vegetables, your fruits, yeah, your fruits and your grains and your pulses. Complex carbohydrates. They're called complex because they have a lot of fiber within them and they break down slowly, so they release energy slowly in the system. Oh, by the way, simple carbohydrates can have a good place in your eating program if you want instant energy for some activity, some sporting activity. Okay, so so carbohydrates, they do turn to glucose, sugars in the body. So we need to be careful what type we are eating and also the amount. So generally speaking, with the vegetables, which are carbohydrates, we want to have a fist with each meal, possibly, or your main meal, a fist size of complex carbohydrates. And if we're talking about grains, then a cup, slightly less on the grains. And I'll be talking more about grains day after tomorrow. Yeah. And then we come to proteins. Proteins break down into amino acids, and proteins are very much for repairing cells in the body. And particularly a large part of our muscles are made up of protein. So it depends, what's our requirement for protein. It depends on your activity level really, and how much muscle you've got in your body as well. Okay, generally speaking, we want about 1 gram of protein to 1 kilogram of body weight, but it does depend. Yeah, and I find that most people don't eat enough protein, and that's when people start getting more hungry and craving sugars. Yeah, so proteins it's good to eat 3 times a day, and at each meal have some protein, maybe about 20 grams of protein at each meal. We can't store protein, we need it on a regular basis. Really very, very important, okay, especially to maintain muscle mass as we get older and prevent the progression of sarcopenia. Okay, so I didn't mention, we'll go back to percentages in a moment. So fats are important, really important for energy, very concentrated source of energy. There's twice as many calories per gram of fat as opposed to carbohydrates. So carbohydrates also for energy in the body. And so we have there are bad fats. Mostly we need saturated fats, by the way, healthy saturated fats coming from as long as they're grass-fed animal products, free range. But if you're vegetarian, then avocado, and then pescatarian, oily fish, really good for you. Really important that we do have fats in our diet, but not so much, because very dense calories, dense form of energy, and we can very easily store it in the body. So we want about a thumb size of fats if we put it all together and condensed it in our daily diet. Okay. So as I say, avocado, coconut oil, and oily fishes. All right. So if we look at the breakdown or the mix of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, it can vary. Protein between 20 and 40%. It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on your muscle mass, on your body composition. And then carbs, that could also be between 30 to 40%, depending on how active you are. Okay, it really depends. Very, very unique. Yeah, it's not one size fits all, as I mentioned yesterday, and it's very particular to each person. Yeah, and so it's good to have a look at different diets, but to really just adopt one diet per se, really we need to be thinking, how does food make us feel? What are my requirements? What are my calorie requirements? Yeah, and also if I'm sick, maybe, or if I've broken a bone, we need more protein. We need more nutrients in the body when we are sick, or particularly broken something. When I broke my leg, I was really concerned about putting on weight, but I didn't. I actually lost weight, and I was still eating. And your calorie requirement is almost double when you break something in the body. So it was amazing, and the body ideally heals really fast. Yeah. So carbohydrates, as I say, about 30-40%, proteins 20 to 40%, and fats about 20 to 30%. It's very much an individual thing. So then we have the micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals. And should we take supplements? We only really want supplements if we have a deficiency. Apparently, if you take more of if you have enough in your body and you take more, it doesn't really make any difference. You don't have sort of higher performance levels because you're taking more of this vitamin or that mineral. Okay. So we do know that vitamin C is really important for the immune system and for repair in the body, but also for sleep. Vitamin C is really important for sleep. Almost one of my 5 pillars. Diet is really within lifestyle, but sometimes before I used to have it as a single pillar on its own. Yeah. And minerals. Vitamins. So vitamin D, really important. There tends to be a deficiency amongst most of the population of vitamin D, especially we get it mostly through sunlight, but we don't have a lot of sun, so we probably need to have vitamin D foods that have vitamin D added. And then you could have certain foods also contain vitamin D. When we come to minerals, you've got magnesium. About 80% of the population apparently have a magnesium deficiency. Again, really important for sleep, and you can get this from a lot of different food sources, and particularly dark leafy green vegetables. Alrighty, so that's just a basic overview. There's a lot of books out there of general, but you need to really experiment with yourself, you know, with what you eat. Maybe if you don't feel on top form, if you don't wake up in the morning and leap out of bed raring to go for the day, then you definitely look at not just your sleeping, but also what you're eating as well. So over the next 3 days, I'm looking more specifically into fairly controversial aspects of diet, and tomorrow we are going to be looking at sugar. Yeah, so sugar covers a lot of different types of food, and I can't wait for that. And then I've got grains and dairy, my all very close to my heart, that I've studied you know, quite a lot to help myself get through different periods in my life. Yep. Okay, guys, so hope you learned something from that. Leave some comments. Yeah, let me know what you think, what you thought, and also what aspect of diet would you like to hear me talk about? Yeah, so it's a while since I did my master's in nutrition, but I always keep up with the latest on these different aspects and how it's changing on a regular basis in accordance with research. Yeah, so, and there's a lot of fad diets out there, so we really need to go right into the research and see what is really what we really need to pay attention to and what we don't. Yeah, okay, you guys have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow at 8:30. And yeah, so as I say, pop in the comments. All right, and think about what you're eating today and why you're eating it. What benefit is whatever you eat, what benefit is it going to have in your body, and what is it? Is it a protein? Is it a carbohydrate? Does it have fat in it? And what sort of vitamins and minerals does that particular bit of food contain? Yeah, so it can be really complex, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. And sometimes the KISS principle, keep it simple, sweetie, is the best policy. Okay, you guys have a good day. Thanks for listening.